Hello everyone and welcome back to another True Unscripted Puro video. Today we have another episode of the Rising Sun Renaissance, as today we have night 11 of the G1 Climax. If you missed last episode, you missed A block action, but tonight we have B block action as Yuya Uemura takes on Ren Narita, Shota Umino takes on Callum Newman, Hinare takes on Gabe Kidd, Joel Moloney takes on Aaron Wolf, and Zack Sabre Jr. takes on Oscar. But before we can get into the show, we have to prepare. So, select venue location. We are going Kyushu and the Fukuoka Convention Center. Select locker room incidents. Headman trainer Junji Hirata ran pre-show training just to work on basics and safety for 9 students. There's been some heat between Callum Newman and the morale officer Toriano. Chase Owens got into a heated argument with a fan outside the arena and had to be restrained before he made things physical. The incident had a small positive impact upon Chase Owens. Owens is happy at the action. Don Fale caused an incident when he antagonized Tiger Mask 5 so much that fight almost broke out between the two. Damn. Let's team bond. The relationship between Ospreay and Newman has worsened. Okay. Absent workers, just Jake, Boss, and Young. I'm gonna get on to pre-booking night 11 for the G1 Climax, and I'll be right back. And on to it, night 11 of the G1 Climax. We start the show off with Kokan Tachibana and Marcel Schneider defeating Hiroya Ariwara and Yoshikazu Komori in a abysmal pre-show match when Marcel Schneider pinned Komori. 23 rating, not too bad. And on to it, your opening match for the main show as... in your first match, Ryuhei Oiwa and Hartley Jackson defeated Bishamon in a decent match after Hartley Jackson pinned Yoshihashi. Hartley Jackson was a weak link doing a 43, 68 rating, not too bad. Hiroki Goto was really off his game here. Afterwards, in your next match, Sonata and Dick Togo defeated Yudo Ice and Daikin Nagai in a decent match after Dick Togo pinned Daikin Nagai. 73 rating, Yudo Ice, unsurprisingly, was head and shoulders above everyone else, doing a 70. Love to see it. Afterwards, in your next preliminary tag match, Jake Lee and Francesco Akira defeated Great Khan and St. J in a decent match when Francesco Akira pinned St. J. St. J was a weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else. He did a 33, not too bad. 62 rating, love to see it. Afterwards, in your next match, Yota Tsuji and Taiji Shimori defeated Oleg Bulin and Tatsuya Matsumoto. And about that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Yota Tsuji was head and shoulders above everyone else, doing a 70. Tatsuya Matsumoto was the weak link, doing a 22. Oleg Bulin and Tatsuya Matsumoto were really off their game here, so the match did a 64. Not too bad. Afterwards, in your last preliminary tag match for the night, Shingo Takagi and Shun Skywalker defeat Konosuke Takeshita and Taisen Nakahara in a decent match. Takeshita was head and shoulders above everyone else. Taisen Nakahara was the weak link, doing a 24. He also was really off his game here. But the match did a 76, so love to see it. But on to block action for the night, as in your first B block match, Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Oscar in a decent match. 70 rating, love to see it. Oscar doing a 59, seemed off his game here, but Zack Sabre Jr. now with 6 points. Oscar still with 4. On to your next match, as Aaron Wolf defeats Drilla Moloney in a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. 55 rating. Drilla and Aaron Wolf didn't click at all. But now, Aaron Wolf has 4 points. Drilla also with 4. Both of them on the brink of elimination, as well as Oscar. But on to your next match, as in your next match, Hinare defeats Gabe Kidd in a decent wild brawl, doing a 73. Love to see it. Both men have great chemistry, and it showed in their performances. So, both men now with 6 points. Kind of in the middle of the pack, but one more win, and they could be advancing to the playoffs. But in your next match, Shota Umino defeats Callum Newman in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling. Shota Umino seemed off his game, doing a 58, and the match did a 58. So, Shota Umino now with 8 points, one more win, and he's most likely going to the playoffs. But Newman, the same cannot be said for Newman, as he's still with 4 points, one more loss, and he's not making it to the playoffs. And his next match is against Oscar. So, it's going to be win or go home for both men. Very excited to see how that plays out. But before we can get into that, in your main event for tonight, Ren Narita defeats Yuya Uemura, putting an end to Yuya's winning streak in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, 71 rating. So Yuya has basically qualified for the playoffs, but Narita has stopped his momentum. And now one more win, and Narita will almost guarantee himself a spot in the playoffs. Man. And we finished the show with a 73 overall rating. We've been getting a lot of 73s lately. I want to see how many we've gotten. But we finished the show. Financial report, just over 45K. And that is all. So, B block standings at the top of the block still. Yuya Uemura with 10 points. He's practically advanced to the playoffs. Now it's just 4 points for him. Then, tied in second place, you have Ren Narita and Shota Umino, both with 8 points. Then, tied for 4th place, all with 6 points, you have Hinare, Gabe Kidd, and Zack Sabre Jr. Then at the bottom of the block, all with 4 points apiece, on the brink of elimination, you have Drilla Moloney, Callum Newman, Aaron Wolf, and Oscar. Looking ahead to night 12, the next episode, which will be A block action, you have Shingo Takagi taking on Konosuke Takeshita, Yota Tsuji taking on Oleg Bolin, Jake Lee taking on Great Khan, Sonata taking on Yudo Ice, Hiroki Goto taking on Ryuhei Oiwa. But I mentioned it just a few moments ago, and I want to talk about it now. Night 13, the next night for B block action, you have Shota Umino taking on Gabe Kidd. If Umino wins, he practically qualifies for the playoffs. But if Gabe Kidd wins, he could go to the playoffs instead. Then you have Yuya Uemura taking on Hinare. Yuya's practically qualified for the playoffs, but if Hinare can defeat Yuya, not only will he make Yuya's life a living hell, but Hinare will be that much closer to the playoffs. Then you have Drilla Moloney taking on Zack Sabre Jr. If Drilla loses that match, he's mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. If Zack loses, Zack goes on to the brink of elimination. Then after that, you have Aaron Wolf taking on Ren Narita. If Ren wins that match, he practically qualifies himself for the playoffs. But if Wolf loses that match, then Wolf is mathematically eliminated. And then last but certainly not least, as I mentioned before, you have Callum Newman taking on Oscar, with the loser of that match being mathematically eliminated. So, no matter what, night 13, you're gonna have someone from B Block be mathematically eliminated. It just depends on who it is and what the results are. That's gonna be it for today's episode of the Rising Sun Renaissance. I've been True Unscripted Puro, and I'll see you all next time.